The Joe Rogan Experience.
You have to have your sorrow of watching the bear tear apart the fawn. That has to happen, because if it didn't happen, you'd have too many fawns. They'd be everywhere. You'd have too many deer.
Yeah.
And you have to have someone who can take care of the bears. Otherwise, the bears will overrun the city where the humans live. And we need to think about that. And people don't want to, because they don't want to shoot Yogi. They don't want to shoot Yogi and Boo Boo. They're our friends. This is a teddy bear. I grew up with a bear. You don't know what a bear is. I've seen a bear in the wild. When you see a bear in the wild, you're like, oh, you don't give a fuck about me. You're some weird, heartless beast that is majestic looking, who runs around eating moose and deer babies. That's what your deal is. You eat grass and berries and you like to lay around. You're fucking cool as shit. It's a cool-ass animal.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you hate it, but you got to understand what the fuck it is. It's not like this idea like people don't want people to hunt bears in certain places, like particularly like they're trying to regulate the size of the amount of grizzly bears in certain parts of the country. They're like, hey, we need to keep a handle on this. Like a couple people get mauled, you know, people start walking through Yellowstone and get attacked. It happens like a little bit more rapidly. The numbers get to a certain, like these things have no fear of people. Like we can actually help the population if they hand out bear tags and people start freaking out. You can't kill the bears. You can't kill the bears. Don't you kill the bear. There's a reason why there's no fucking bears in California, Duncan. Only black bears. Our fucking state flag has a grizzly bear on it. Did you ever notice that?
No.
Yeah, the state flag is a grizzly bear. They eradicated all the grizzly bears because they were eating people. So in the fucking 1800s, dude, there's a town. I think it's called Levesque. It's out near, like, on the way to Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Lebec. I think it's called Lebec. It's a town named after the last dude that got killed by a grizzly bear in California. Yeah, and to investigate this, they exhumed his body, and his legs were fucking ripped apart. Like his knees were snapped in half and shit. I mean,
You have to destroy this tape.
he got torn apart by a bear, and they killed the bear, and they buried him, and that was the last bear. That was the last bear attack. They killed all the bears. The reason why they killed all the bears is because that's what you have to do, you fuck. Do you want to be able to walk to your car?
Yes.
Okay, you don't want bears in Santa Monica. Okay, shut up. Just shut up. We're going into their territory, man. They'll come into yours too.
Definitely don't want to get attacked by a grizzly because they'll start eating you when you're still alive.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Most of the time when grizzlies eat people, though, or most of the time when grizzlies kill people, they're not killing someone because they want to eat them.
Right.
They're killing someone because you startled them and they're with the females with their cubs.
Oh.
That's most of it.
So what happens what are you supposed to do when a grizzly? Just pray?
Well, if it's a female grizzly, you are literally better off letting her fuck you up.
Right.
You just curl up in a ball. You're supposed to put your hand behind your neck, lay in a fetal position, and don't let her get access to your organs because she wants to chew your organs apart.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why it's really important to have a strong backpack. If you have a strong backpack, she'll fuck up that backpack while you're on your knees, curled up in a fetal position. But that's assuming you can survive that. She's probably going to break your arms. She's probably going to snap your legs, bite into you in ways that you can't imagine the kind of force and power she can generate.
I mean,
she's trying to immobilize you. She wants to immobilize you as a threat to her children. Oof. But if a male's trying to kill you, it's usually because he's starving to death. They don't recognize people as a food source because they rarely eat people.
Right.
So that male, he probably has never eaten a person. It's one of the reasons why it's safer to be in a place where they hunt grizzlies. Because in a place where they hunt grizzlies, a grizzly sees a person and goes, fuck this. They'll smell you and get the fuck out of there.
Right.
But like Yellowstone, they haven't hunted grizzlies there in forever. So people still get jacked there. They get jacked there every couple of years. Most talked about that. I got calls from all my friends. Bert Kreischer was fucking obsessed with you. he wouldn't stop calling me about it. He's like, the fucking guy's by himself. The video with him with the grizzly bear and he's pointing the gun at it. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
The fucking weirdest thing is that's normal shit. It is. That's very normal.
Yes.
But society's so removed from it now.
Well, if you're out there, it's normal to get false charged by a grizzly bear.
Yeah,
that is
you're living with nature, yeah.
It's one good reason not fucking be out there.
I was talking with Kim about this. We hiked into the back of Montana to the spot that's usually got a bunch of grizzly bears that I go to. And we're talking about you, how you won't come out to Australia hunting because you're scared of everything. The difference is when you're walking around the mountains here, it can happen at any point because fucking grizzly bears have got feet. They walk on land. In Australia, you pretty much have to go into the water. So you're only worried about that when you go to collect water or you're thinking about having a wash or something. Here, it's full time.
For whatever reason, it doesn't bother me as much to get killed and eaten by a bear than it does a giant saltwater crocodile.
It should. I reckon the crocodile would be nicer.
What?
Yeah, it'd be nicer. It'd like grab you, drag you down. You'd drown anyway, and then it would do what it wants with you. A grizzly bear's going to fucking maul you, scratch your face off, bite your neck, take chunks out of you. It's going to be longer, dude.
Yeah, but it's American. You are one of the few people that I know that has almost been killed by a grizzly bear.
Well, yeah,
You had a real
in a
shot.
like in a
You had
brush, yeah,
you had a real shot.
something enough where it was scary enough that I now that I've studied it a fair bit, that I now know I had a mental. I had like a near death experience mental experience, even though I was unharmed. But it jarred my brain
So hard.
It jarred my the minute or the seconds that occurred jarred my brain so hard that as I've tried to be curious about and study about what happened in my brain, its parallels are all found and it's discussed by people who discuss near-death experiences, which might just mean I'm not as tenacious mentally as I'd like to be, but my brain got joggled.
But don't you think that...
Is joggle the word?
It is now. Don't you think that when you're in contact with an animal that's that large, I mean, a predatory animal that's, how big was it, 10 feet? How big was that grizzly? Easily?
Yeah, I don't want to...
Enormous.
It was like, struck all of us, and we've looked at a lot of bears as being like, a mature brown bear.
Okay, so...
Mature Kodiak brown bear.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to talk about. Talk about where you were at, Fognak Island, which is a place that has enormous bears. That whole part of the world is known for some of the largest brown bears on Earth.
Yeah, it's separated from Kodiak by a narrow strait. It's like the Kodiak brown bear being like the world's biggest bear was just a neighboring island, but that specific specimen, I don't know, a mature animal, big.
just huge.
Yeah.
When you're around something like that, where there can be no doubt that you can't get out of the way, you can't fight it off, you're helpless. Like, it must trigger something in your mind where you come to grips with the reality of predator and prey, that you almost were on the menu.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way around that. You can't, there's no rationalizations you could play in your mind when you're confronted with such absolute superiority. There's a distinction. What you're talking about is a coastal brown bear. The ones that are eating a lot of salmon. There's a difference between them and grizzlies. The grizzlies are the inland bears. Okay. And the grizzly is a bear that you would encounter, say, in Montana, and they're much more likely to eat you.
Is that right?
Yeah. Because,
eat you?
Yeah. They are eating animals. They're not eating fish because there's not much fish to eat there. I mean, they might catch a trout every now and then, but for the most part, they're eating moose and deer and mostly calves too. That's what they prefer to eat.
That's a good meal.
It's a good meal.
I don't think I'm a good meal.
You definitely would be, and they definitely would eat you. If you my woman got killed in Montana recently. She got killed in her tent. She was I forget what she was doing there, but she was in her tent, and this bear came into her tent and killed her. It does happen. It's more likely to happen with grizzlies than it is with brown bears, because brown bears are actually far larger too, because they have an almost endless supply of fish, especially in like Alaska. The biggest brown bears in the world used to be in California. California, even though our state flag has a grizzly bear on it, we don't have any grizzly bears in California because they killed them all.
Misnomer?
No,
I'm saying the flag is a misnomer.
No. They used to have them.
We had grizzlies?
Oh, yeah. There's a place called Leveque, California.
I know we had the brown bear, but now with the distinction.
Yeah. Well, it's the same bear.
Same bear.
It's the difference between them is one of them is on the coast and they're far larger. California had the biggest because California doesn't have a hibernation. It's not winter. There's no winter there. Like California, like Leveque, California.
Where is that?
It's like on the way to Bakersfield up the 5. And it's named after the last person in California to get killed by a grizzly bear. I think his name was Stephen Levesque.
You had it right the first time. It's with a B. Lebec.
Lebec.
It's Peter Lebec.
Lebec, yeah. What did I say, Levesque?
Yeah.
Lebec. That's the guy. So he got killed by a bear in 1837, which is now Fort Tejon. So that is up near Tejon Ranch. And so this guy was the last person killed by a bear, and then they basically eradicated brown bears from California because because they were killing people, because they were hunting them down, because they are predators, and they, if they didn't have fish, and they found a person, they're like, I'll eat you.